For as long as many of us can remember, the United Kingdom was the destination. It was the place you went to get a world-class education, to build a career, or simply to chase a bigger dream. For countless Africans, Accra, Nairobi, Lagos, Harare, the path to a better life often had a Heathrow Airport signpost at the end of it. The UK wasn't just another country, it was a beacon, a symbol of opportunity. A place where your hard work could genuinely pay off. The cities were bustling, the universities were legendary, and the promise of a stable, prosperous future felt very, very real. But it seems the management has changed. And they're not just renovating the house, they're changing the locks. What if that dream, that well-trodden path paved by generations of ambitious Africans, is being systematically dismantled? What if the open arms that once welcomed doctors, or engineers, students, are slowly closing into a fist? This isn't some far-off hypothetical scenario. We're talking about a series of deliberate, calculated policy changes happening right now in 2025. The UK government has unveiled a new immigration playbook, and it sends a chilling message. It's a message that suggests that while the UK may have valued African talent in the past, the future looks very different. The welcome mat is being rolled up. To really understand how much of a slap in the face these new rules are, you have to look at the history. The relationship between the UK and many African nations isn't new. It's a centuries-old story, deeply intertwined and, let's be honest, incredibly complicated. For generations, the people-to-people links have been strong, forged through the Commonwealth and shared histories. Africans have consistently been among the top groups choosing the UK to work, study, build a new life. This wasn't a one-way street. It was a relationship that, at least on the surface, seemed to benefit both sides. The UK got talent, ambition, a dedicated workforce, and Africans got opportunity. Just think about the National Health Service, the NHS. It's as British as queuing and complaining about the weather, but it has been propped up for decades by the skill and dedication of African professionals. Doctors from Nigeria, nurses from Ghana, care workers from Zimbabwe have been the backbone of the system, working tirelessly to keep it running. In the world of academia, African students are known for their drive and brilliance, often topping their classes and contributing to the UK's global reputation for higher education. Their contributions are immense, woven into the very fabric of British society in ways that are impossible to ignore. The history is being rewritten. The UK's universities were once the crown jewels of its soft power, attracting the best and brightest from around the globe. For African students, getting an offer from a British university was like receiving a golden ticket. It was a chance to learn from the best, to gain a prestigious qualification, and to set yourself up for a global career. But the government now seems to view this route not as a source of pride, but as a backdoor for immigration that needs to be bolted shut. The new rules for international students are so restrictive, it feels like they're actively trying to discourage people from even applying. One of the most significant and heartless changes is that most international students can no longer bring their families or dependents with them. This is a massive blow, especially for Africans from cultures where family is everything. Imagine you're a 35-year-old Nigerian professional, maybe an engineer or a banker, looking to get a master's degree to advance your career. You have a spouse, 2 young children. Under the old rules, you could bring them along. Now you're told you have to leave them behind for a year or more. For many, that's not just a difficult choice, it's an impossible one. Then there's the attack on the post-study work visa. The graduate route, which used to give students a 2-year window to find a skilled job after graduation, is being shortened. This was a crucial period for graduates to gain valuable UK work experience, start paying off their massive student loans, and contribute to the economy. Now the pressure is on to secure a sponsored job almost immediately after your final exam, or risk being told to pack your bags and leave. If the changes for students felt like a squeeze, the new rules for workers are a full-blown clampdown, and nowhere is this more obvious than the social care sector. This is a field that has come to depend almost entirely on the hard work and compassion of foreign workers, particularly from Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe. They fill critical shortages in a system creaking under pressure. These were the people looking after Britain's most vulnerable citizens, the elderly and the disabled. They were hailed as heroes during the pandemic. Essential workers on the front line. Now, in a stunning reversal, the UK has slammed the door shut. The health and care worker visa route was a major pathway for thousands of Africans. It has been closed to new overseas applicants in the social care sector. Just like that, the door is locked and the key has been thrown away. For those who were already in the UK on this visa, there's a brief transition period. But for the countless new applicants abroad, the dream is over. Many had already invested their life savings, paid agent fees, and made life-altering plans based on this route. They now find themselves in a devastating limbo, their hopes and finances shattered by a sudden policy change. This decision is not just cruel, it's baffling. It's not just care workers who are feeling the chill. For skilled professionals in other sectors, the engineers, the IT specialists, the accountants, the path to the UK has become, well, an obstacle course designed to make you give up. The skilled worker visa, which is the main route for professionals to work in the UK, has been reformed in a way that dramatically raises the hurdles. It's no longer enough to be skilled and have a job offer. You now have to be an elite, high-earning superstar to even get a look in. The government is essentially rolling out the red carpet for the 1% of global talent, while telling everyone else the road is closed. The most significant change is the massive hike in the minimum salary threshold. The amount you need to be earning to qualify for the visa has been pushed up so high that it effectively excludes a huge number of experienced and valuable professionals. Think about a talented graphic designer from Kenya or a mid-career project manager from South Africa. These are people with skills the UK economy needs, people who would have easily qualified under the old rules. Now, unless their job offer comes with a Premier League footballer's salary, they're out of luck. It's a blunt instrument that mistakes our high salary for high value, ignoring the crucial contributions of those in less lucrative but equally important fields. This combination of higher salary thresholds, stricter skill requirements, and increased costs for employers creates a triple threat for African professionals. Even for the lucky few who manage to navigate the treacherous new landscape and actually make it to the UK, the challenges don't end there. The ultimate goal for most long-term migrants is to achieve some form of security, to finally be able to put down roots and build a life without the constant fear of having to leave. This security comes in the form of indefinite leave to remain or permanent residency. It's the light at the end of the long, expensive visa tunnel. But the government has decided to move that light much, much further away. For most visa categories, the qualifying period for indefinite leave to remain has been doubled. What used to be a 5-year journey has now become a 10-year marathon. That's a full decade of living in a state of prolonged probation. It means 10 years of uncertainty, 10 years of visa renewals, 10 years of paying exorbitant application fees, 10 years of living with the constant anxiety that any minor slip-up or change in rules could result in your right to remain being revoked. It's a policy that actively prevents people from feeling like they belong, forcing them to live in a state of perpetual temporariness. This extended waiting period has a profound psychological and financial impact. So, why is all of this happening? If you listen to the UK government, the explanation is all very neat and tidy. Officials have been very open about their primary motivation: to cut net migration numbers, which had reached record highs. They argued that the system was being misused, with some migrants overstaying their visas or being exploited in sectors like social care. They also claimed that the UK had become too reliant on foreign labour and that these new tougher rules will push employers to do the right thing and finally invest in training British workers. It all sounds very responsible, very sensible, but when you look beyond the polished policy papers and the carefully worded press conferences, you see a different story. The real story is about politics. In recent years, Anti-immigration sentiment has been on the rise in the UK, fanned by certain sections of the media and political parties. The government is under immense pressure to look tough on immigration or to show voters that it has a firm grip on the country's borders. These sweeping changes are less about a coherent economic strategy and more about political posturing. They are a loud, headline-grabbing signal to a specific segment of the electorate that the government is taking action. Policy documents and statistics don't tell the full story. To understand the real impact of these changes, you have to look at the people whose lives are being turned upside down. Take the story of Adeola, a Ghanaian nurse who spent 2 years saving up to move to the UK as a care worker. She sold a piece of family land. She paid thousands to an agent. She was days away from submitting her visa application when the rules changed overnight. The route was closed. Her dream and her family's investment vanished in an instant. Then there's the story of Dr. Chidinma, a brilliant Nigerian academic who was offered a postdoctoral research position at a UK university. But she is also a mother to a 6-year-old son. The new rules meant she could not bring him with her. She was faced with an agonizing choice, her career or her child. In the end, it wasn't a choice at all. She turned down the position. Consider the case of Samuel, an IT professional from Zimbabwe who has been working in the UK for 4 years on a skilled worker visa. He always believed that after 5 years he could apply for permanent residency and finally feel secure. Now, he's been told he has to wait another 6 years. The sense of belonging he thought he was building has been replaced with the feeling of being perpetually unwelcome. So let's circle back to our original question. Is the UK dream over for Africans? For a significant number of people, the answer is now unequivocally yes. Students who weren't pursuing elite research, mid-level professionals with valuable skills, compassionate care workers who propped up the NHS. The UK is making a very clear and deliberate statement about the kind of migrant it wants in its future. The country is becoming tougher, more expensive, far more selective. This situation is forcing a major rethink across the continent. Canada, Australia, Germany, they offer clearer pathways to residency. The UK's loss will undoubtedly be their gain. The dream isn't just fading. For many, it's already gone.